Let us start with everything Paraguay did that made the football world angry. Miguel Almiron threw himself to the ground against the United States without being touched. The referee booked the wrong man. VAR intervened, canceled the yellow card, and booked Almiron for simulation instead. The first player sent off under the new diving protocol at the 2026 World Cup. Paraguay lost that game 4-1. 2 weeks later, Almiron was sent off against Turkey for covering his mouth while speaking to an opponent, violating a FIFA rule so new that most players did not know it existed. Paraguay won that game 1-0 with a goal after 64 seconds, the fastest goal of the entire tournament. Against Germany, Paraguay committed borderline foul after borderline foul. They conceded 16 corner kicks. A German goal in extra time that would have ended their tournament was disallowed by a VAR decision controversial enough that FIFA held a separate press conference to explain it. Paraguay held on and won the penalty shootout. Germany, four-time world champions, went home. Against France, Paraguay committed approximately 30 fouls without receiving a single yellow card during the match. They targeted Kylian Mbappe specifically, grabbing him, shoving him off the ball, kicking him in the shin. France received 3 yellow cards. Paraguay received 0. After the final whistle, with his team already eliminated, goalkeeper Orlando Gil threw a ball at the back of Mbappe's head. France won 1-0. Paraguay went home, and the football world spent the next week arguing about whether Paraguay were villains, pragmatists, or something the sport had not quite seen before, a team that understood the rules of the game better than the people who wrote them. To understand what Paraguay actually did at this World Cup, you have to understand where they came from. Paraguay is ranked 40th in the world. They do not have a Messi. They do not have a Mbappe. They do not have a Haaland. Their most recognizable player is Miguel Almiron, a talented, energetic midfielder who spent his best years at Newcastle United and is now at Atlanta United in MLS. Their coach, Gustavo Alfaro, freely admitted before the tournament that 2 Turkey players were worth more than his entire squad in financial terms. Before Alfaro arrived in August 2024, Paraguay had collected just 5 points from their first 6 CONMEBOL qualifying matches. They were staring at elimination, not from the World Cup, but from automatic qualification entirely. The federation had cycled through 11 coaches in 13 years. The team had not appeared at a World Cup since 2010. Alfaro changed everything. Not by signing better players, not by inventing some brilliant new attacking system. He changed everything by rebuilding a mentality. His philosophy was simple, almost aggressively so. Every ball will be the ball of our lives. He set up Paraguay in a disciplined 4-4-2, compact defensive lines, 2 banks of 4 without the ball, rapid transitions when they won it. He turned Asuncion into a fortress. They beat Brazil. They beat Argentina. They beat Uruguay. Not with beautiful football, with organization, discipline, and a refusal to accept that the gap between themselves and the best teams in South America was insurmountable. Alfaro himself is a man shaped by adversity. His father, a trade unionist, was imprisoned and publicly paraded through the streets when Gustavo was a child. Rather than breaking him, that experience built the resilience he now passes to every squad he manages. His nickname across South America is the Hunter of Impossible Utopias. He earned it. Paraguay qualified for the 2026 World Cup with 28 points, conceding just 10 goals in 18 qualifying matches. They did not qualify by scoring. They qualified by not losing. The first lesson of Paraguay's World Cup came in the very first match. Against the United States in Los Angeles, Paraguay tried to play. They attempted to be expansive. They pressed, they created, they took risks, and they lost 4-1. It was not close. The USMNT overwhelmed them in transition, exploited the space that Paraguay's attacking ambition created, and produced their best performance of the tournament. Almiron's diving incident happened in that match, a moment that created the narrative that would follow Paraguay throughout the tournament. He went down without contact. The referee was fooled. VAR corrected it. Almiron was correctly booked for simulation. The story became, Paraguay will do anything to get an advantage. But the more important story was the 4-1 scoreline, because Paraguay looked at that result and made a very clear decision. This was not a team that could beat elite opposition by trying to play like an elite team. They did not have the players for it. They had something else. They had Gil in goal. They had Gomez and Balbuena in central defense. They had Cubas as a defensive anchor. And they had Alfaro's system. If they were going to cause problems at this World Cup, it would not be by playing beautiful football. It would be by making beautiful football impossible for everyone they faced. Against Turkey, that decision produced the fastest goal of the tournament, Galarza, in 64 seconds. Then Almiron was sent off, leaving 10 men for most of the match. They held on and won 1-0. 10 men, leading from the first minute, defending for their lives. The system worked. Against Australia in the final group match, Paraguay played with 5 defenders, a formation that drew significant criticism for its lack of attacking intent. Australia held them to a draw. Paraguay still qualified as one of the best third-placed teams. Alfaro did not apologize for the tactics. "We came here to be competitive," he said. The Germany match at Gillette Stadium in Boston was not supposed to happen. Paraguay were the third-placed team from a group they nearly did not qualify from. Germany were Group E winners, a 4-time world champion, heavy favorites. Paraguay conceded 16 corner kicks. They recorded 8 blocks, individual bodies in the way of shots that would otherwise have been goals. Gil made 6 saves. Germany dominated possession, dominated territory, and could not score past a team that simply refused to let them. In extra time, Germany scored. Jonathan Tah rose above the defense for a header. The goal would have sent them through. VAR disallowed it. Waldemar Anton had impeded Gil in a manner that, under tighter FIFA regulations introduced for this tournament, constituted a foul. The decision was so controversial that FIFA's referee committee chairman, Pierluigi Collina, held a press conference specifically to explain it. Germany's first ever World Cup penalty shootout followed. Gil saved 2 of their kicks. Paraguay converted 4. Germany, 4-time world champions, the nation that invented the concept of tournament football as a machine, went home to a team ranked 40th in the world. Alfaro had said before the match, "The path to success is not a straight line." He was not wrong. The France match in Philadelphia was where Paraguay went further than tactics and entered territory that the football world found genuinely uncomfortable. France were the strongest team in the tournament. They had Mbappe, Olise, Barcola, Dembele. They were expected to win comfortably. Paraguay made them earn every second of it. The fouls came early and often. Andres Cubas grabbed Mbappe in the attacking third in the 35th minute, causing a mass confrontation. Matias Galarza made contact off the ball. Juan Jose Caceres kicked Mbappe in the shin in the 77th minute. None of these produced yellow cards for Paraguay. France received 3 yellow cards. Paraguay received 0 during the match, only 1 after the final whistle for dissent. France midfielder Manu Kone described the experience as, "I had never played a match like this, with so many hits. Cheap shots, shoves in the back. It was complicated." Mbappe himself was characteristically direct. "We knew what kind of match it was going to be. We can also get our hands dirty. We know how to do it. We know how to play ugly football. Guess they were thinking we were going to show up in tuxedos, but we were ready." France eventually won when Diego Gomez fouled substitute Desire Doué inside the area in the 70th minute. Mbappe converted the penalty, 1-0. After the final whistle, as players converged near the center circle, Orlando Gil threw a ball at Mbappe's back. It was the image that captured everything about Paraguay's World Cup in one frame. A team that pushed every boundary available to them until the very last moment of their tournament, even when they had already lost. So was Paraguay wrong? It is the most honest question this tournament has produced. And the answer is not simple. Cape Verde's coach Bubista made a pointed comment after his team's elimination by Argentina. He said, without naming Paraguay directly, that Cape Verde had committed very few fouls throughout the World Cup and had tried to play the right way, as opposed to other underdog nations which turned up to spoil games. The contrast was clear. 2 small nations, similar resources, completely different choices. One won the hearts of the football world. The other made the football world furious. But Paraguay's coach would argue, and did argue, that he had a duty to play to the strengths of his players. Going toe-to-toe with France in an open game would not have produced a 1-0 defeat. it would likely have produced something much worse. Paraguay tried that against the United States and lost 4-1. They learned, they adapted, and they produced one of the great World Cup upsets of the modern era. The physical approach, the borderline fouls, the gamesmanship, none of it broke the rules of football as they are written. It exploited them. It pushed them. It made referees uncomfortable and opponents furious, and viewers at home question what they were watching. But it was legal. Every single thing Paraguay did was within the laws of the game as they exist. And that is the uncomfortable truth that Paraguay leaves behind. Their tactics were not a reflection of their character as people or as a nation. They were a reflection of a specific problem that football has not solved. A team with fewer resources than its opponents, no path to winning through quality alone, and a coach smart enough to identify exactly where the limits of the rulebook could be exploited. So here is the verdict. Paraguay came to the 2026 World Cup ranked 40th in the world. They left having beaten four-time world champions Germany and having taken France, the strongest team in the tournament, to the final minutes before a penalty in the 70th minute ended them. They did it by diving, by fouling, by throwing balls at the world's best player after the whistle, by winning VAR decisions that made FIFA hold press conferences, by making football ugly in a way that nobody who watched it will easily forget. Alfaro's philosophy, every ball will be the ball of our lives, produced exactly what it promised. Not beautiful football, not football that anyone wants to imitate, football that was almost impossible to beat. The hunter of impossible utopias came close to catching two of them. That might be the most Paraguayan thing that has ever happened at a World Cup.